Many years ago, in the popular city of Warri, lived a young lady named Tega Orish. She worked as an admin officer at a school in Ekpan and lived with her mother, Mama Orish, who was a pepper and dried fish seller at the Warri main market. They had lived in the same family house for years, a public compound with 10 rooms and one backyard tap. Tega's father died when she was only 12, leaving Mama Orish to raise her two daughters alone. And even though she did it with strength, she also became inwardly bitter and suspicious of everyone, especially men. Her favorite advice to her girls was, "Men will leave you when you are soft and use you till you are tired. So it is better you marry rich or don't marry at all." But unfortunately, love doesn't ask for permission, and that was how Tega met Ochukwu at a wedding in Sapele. He wasn't rich or flashy. He worked as an engineer at a small construction company in Warri. He didn't have much money, but he was hardworking, respectful, and content. They started off as friends, talking for hours every day. Ochukwu didn't come with fake promises. He didn't say, "I will take you to Dubai" or "I will be your carpet to walk on." And that was enough for Tega. However, when Ochukwu came to see Mama Orish to introduce himself properly, the elderly woman didn't hide her disapproval. She stared at his okruka shoes and asked, "So, what kind of house do you live in? Do you own a land or you're still squatting?" Ochukwu smiled politely. "I rent a flat, ma. I don't own land yet, but I am saving towards it." Mama Orish hissed so loudly that even the neighbors reacted. Later that night, she told Tega, "If you marry that boy, don't bring your suffering to my doorstep." But Tega was in love, and love sometimes makes us stubborn. So, against her mother's loud disapproval, Tega and Ochukwu had a small church wedding with close friends only. There was no DJ or ashebi, just small jollof rice, mineral, and a happy couple. They moved into a 2-bedroom apartment in the heart of Warri, and in those early months, they were very happy. They prayed together, cooked together, and dreamed about the children they would one day have. Tega still visited her mother weekly with foodstuffs, but Mama Orish never smiled back. She would look at the cheap foodstuffs and say, "So, instead of him to set you up in a good business, he's giving you tomatoes." Tega would laugh nervously and change the topic. One Sunday afternoon, while Tega and Ochukwu were having snacks, they heard a knock on the door. It was Mama Orish with 2 big bags. "I just want to spend a few days here," she said with a bitter smirk. Tega was surprised. "Mama, you didn't even call." "Oh, do I now need a visa to visit my own daughter?" Ochukwu smiled and helped her bring in the bags. But that was the day everything changed. The first night Mama Orish slept in their house, she complained about the mattress. "My back is not used to this kind of foam. I am used to orthopedic. This one is like hard sponge for newborn baby." Tega smiled and tried to make her comfortable. But the next day, Ochukwu quietly went out and returned with extra pillows from the market. By the 3rd day, Mama Orish had rearranged the entire kitchen. "Who arranged onions near the gas like this? Do you want to start a fire?" She shifted the pots, changed the position of spoons, and declared one afternoon, "Tega, don't let any man turn you into a cook and cleaner. Oh. You are a woman, not a worker bee." Tega laughed at first, but when her mother started making those comments every single day, something began to shift in her head. One morning, while Ochiko was at work and Tega was frying plantain, her mother entered the kitchen and whispered, "I saw the way he looked at your waist this morning. That is the only thing his kind of men know in marriage." Tega frowned. Mama, he's my husband now. He can look." Her mother smirked. "Yes, he can look until he gets you pregnant and fat, and then he will find another waist to admire." Tega didn't respond, but her hands started shaking a little as she turned the plantain. And then things escalated when Tega suggested visiting Ochiko's mother in Jeddo for her birthday. "My mother-in-law has been asking when I will come. I think I will go this weekend," she said to her mother that evening. Mama Orish frowned. "You are going where?" "To Ochiko's mother's house," Tega replied casually. "So, you will leave your own mother in this house and go and rub powder on another woman's face? Let me ask you, when last did she come here to greet me?" Tega frowned. "But Mama, she sent her greetings with plantain and red oil 2 weeks ago." "Eh? And that is enough for you to pack your bag and go and be laughing with her in her parlor? Don't you know women like that pretend? She might be a witch, God forbid." Later that night, Tega and Ochiko had their first serious argument because of this. "She's my mother," Ochiko said. "She deserves the same respect I give your mom." Tega frowned. "But you heard what my mother said. She has bad feelings about me going there. We can't just ignore it." "Babe, this is our marriage, not your mother's battleground. We must create balance," Ochiko warned. Tega didn't respond, but the seeds had already been planted. Over the next few weeks, Mama Orish's words became heavier and sharper. "That boy is too quiet. We don't know what he's hiding. Why does he come back from work without bringing bread or suya? He should start a business for you. Must you keep working under people?" Then Mama Orish started praying loud prayers at night. "Any man that is hiding secrets from my daughter, Holy Ghost fire. Any strange woman monitoring her joy, back to sender. Every silent enemy of progress, speak and be exposed." Meanwhile, Ochiko was trying to hold things together. He still brought small gifts home, rubbed Tega's shoulders, and asked about her day. But Tega was no longer as warm as before. Her tone had changed. One day, he came home and found that Mama Orish had installed a curtain between the parlor and the kitchen. When he asked why, she said, "A man shouldn't be watching every step of his wife in the kitchen. That is bad luck." That night, Ochiko complained to Tega. "This cannot continue anymore." But Tega frowned. "So what do you want me to do? Should I drive my mother away?" Ochiko didn't say anything further. He continued to bear it all in silence for peace to reign until one rainy Thursday when he came home with an envelope in his hand. He had just received news that the road construction project he had been supervising was suspended. "The company said we should hold on till funding clears," he told Tega. "They've paid part salary, but things might be tight for a while." He was just being honest with her as usual, but Tega didn't smile the way she used to when he shared his worries before. She sat quietly on the bed and nodded. Then she stood up and went to the kitchen without a word. When she told her mother clicked her tongue. What did I tell you? A man that cannot secure his family's future is not a husband. He is a roommate. Ochiko heard it but said nothing. And then, over the next few days, things got worse. Tega became very cold and distant. She no longer kissed him goodbye in the morning. She began to keep her phone face down, and sometimes she even left the room to take certain calls. One afternoon, Ochiko walked into the sitting room to find her dressed in a skimpy gown she hadn't worn before. She had lipstick on, and her hair was perfectly brushed. "Where are you going to?" Tega shrugged. "Oh, my mom said I should follow her to go and see one of her church sisters in PTI Road." Later that night, while she was sleeping, Ochuko saw a message on her phone from an unknown number. I enjoyed our chats. You deserve better. Let me know if you want to meet again. Ochuko didn't confront her immediately. He just stared at her as she slept, wondering when the gap between them had grown so wide that he could no longer cross it. 2 days later, they had a full-blown argument in the middle of the kitchen. It started over water, who left the tap running, but quickly it turned to poison. I am tired, Ochuko. I am tired of managing. I am tired of carrying everything, Tega shouted. Oh, you think I am not tired too? But I am trying. I am trying every day. But Tega, you don't even talk to me unless your mother feeds you with something to say. And that was when Mama Orish entered, clapping her hands slowly. So, I am the devil now, Abi. Me that carried her in my womb. I shouldn't talk to her so that she can die inside your house in silence. Tega turned to her husband angrily. Do you see? This is why we have issues. You are always attacking my mother. Ochuko's voice dropped low and he narrowed his eyes. Tega, pick a side right now. She folded her arms and stared at him. Ochuko waited, but Tega walked out of the kitchen without a word, not even a second glance at him. That night, Ochuko wrote her a letter, a full-paged letter. He poured out his heart, told her he loved her still, that they could fight this together, that he would start a side job, and that he wanted the marriage to work. He left the letter on her pillow and went to sleep on the couch. But by morning, he woke up to silence. The letter was gone, and she didn't even say anything to him. He saw her bag packed and Mama Orish already standing at the gate with her wrapper tied high, smiling like someone who had finally won a silent war. 3 days passed, then a week. And for 2 full weeks, he waited for a call, a knock or a message from Tega, but nothing came. Then one morning, he went to her family's house with a nylon bag full of groceries. He sat outside on a bench, waiting for her to come out. Unfortunately, she didn't. Instead, Mama Orish came to the door holding the crumpled letter he had written. She doesn't want you anymore, she said flatly. Mama, please, let me talk to her. But Mama Orish waved the letter at him. You already did, and it wasn't enough. She then tore it in front of him and smirked. It is time you move on. She will be sending you the divorce papers soon, dear ex-husband. Ochuko didn't cry. He just stood still for a moment before walking away. But as he did, he could feel his heart walking ahead of him, crying on his behalf. 2 weeks later, Tega sent the divorce papers, and that night, back at home, Mama Orish cooked bitter leaf soup and danced to an old Sunny Ade song. Ah, Tega, my daughter, you are free now. No more suffering. Tega forced a smile, but something inside her chest didn't feel right. That night, she stared at the ceiling and remembered. She remembered the first time Ochuko kissed her hand after frying plantain for too long. The time he washed her feet when she came home with blisters. The little drawings he used to make in the steam of the bedroom mirror. She rolled over and told herself, it's just the adjustment, I'll be fine. 2 months passed and Tega started living her new freedom. But her mother controlled everything, where she went, what she wore, and who she talked to. Anytime a new man greeted her, Mama Orish would frown and say, that one, his trousers are too short. It means he is stingy. He can't even buy enough material. This one, he has too much perfume. He is definitely a womanizer. This other one, he is too quiet. Men like him always have secrets. And so, Tega began to feel like a tenant in her own skin. Then, one Sunday afternoon, she was going to buy suya when she saw Ochuko across the street. He was laughing genuinely with a lady. The lady touched his arm lightly. Tega's heart skipped. She ducked behind a car to watch them well. He's moved on so fast. No, that woman could just be a friend. But he looks happy. The world suddenly felt too small for her emotions. That night, she asked her mother, "Do you think I rushed the divorce?" Mama Orish hissed. "Rushed? You should have left earlier, my daughter. You even wasted time." Tega looked at her mother's hardened face. "But Mama, what if I made a mistake?" Mama Orish slammed her hand on the table. "Don't ever say that in this house again." Tega turned away, trying to hide the sting in her heart. In her chest, the first seeds of regret had begun to sprout, but the roots of pride were still too strong. So, she didn't reach out or send a text to Ochuko. She simply went back to work. However, from that day on, every man she met reminded her of what she lost, because none of them were like Ochuko. 3 years had passed since the divorce, and Tega, who was now 32 years old, looked good on the outside. Her hair was always done, with well-ironed clothes and fresh perfume. But inside, her soul felt like a rusted gate, still standing but stiff and squeaky. She was still single, not for the lack of suitors. Nah, men came and went like the rain, but none of them stayed. None even made it past her mother's gate, because Mama Orish had a mouth sharper than a kitchen knife. Every time a new man visited, she always had something distasteful to say. "You brought another one? Where is his car? That one smells like someone with 7 children already." His handshake was weak. That means his destiny is weak. He can't count millions. And bit by bit, Tega began to shrink. She no longer brought men home. She didn't even have the strength to argue. She just obeyed. One evening, as she returned from work, she saw a crowd in front of the house. A neighbor pulled her aside and said, "Your younger sister, Essie, she just fought with Mama. Oh. They said she's pregnant." Tega dropped her handbag in shock. Pregnant? She rushed inside and found Essie on the floor with swollen eyes and bleeding lips. Mama Orish stood over her, shouting, "You this disgrace! After all my fasting and prayers, you brought shame to my house?" Tega stepped in. "Mama, what happened?" Essie looked up and said bitterly, "I am pregnant and I am going to marry the man. I want to keep my child." Mama Orish boiled. "Oh, so you want to turn into your useless aunties, eh? Is that the life you want?" But Essie stood up slowly in tears, and then she said something that shook the entire house. "At least I didn't destroy anybody's home like you destroyed Tega's." The room froze and Mama Orish's hands paused in the air. "What did you just say?" Mama Orish asked. Essie shouted louder. "You think I don't know? You think I didn't hear how you lied to her? How you told that man that Tega didn't want him anymore? How you tore his apology letter and manipulated Tega for your selfish interests?" Tega frowned. "Essie, what are you saying?" Essie turned to her big sister and continued. "You remember that businessman you went to lunch with? Mama arranged it. She was the one who gave him your number and told him you were looking for a better man. She came to your home to destroy your marriage because Ochuko didn't impress her enough." Tega stood numbly like someone whose legs had vanished. Her head spun. "Mama, is it true?" Mama Orish swallowed hard and shrugged. "I did what I know was best." Tega pointed at her unbelievably. "You did what was best? For who? For me or for you? Wait, oh, So you used me to fight your own battles. You couldn't control your husband when you were married, so you decided to control my own. The picture is finally getting clearer now. I was the fool. You never wanted me happy. You just wanted me available. Mama Oriche's eyes were suddenly full of water, but the damage was done. That night, Tega didn't sleep in that house. She packed a small bag and went to a friend's place in Uborikoko. The next day, she sent a message to her boss asking for a transfer. She could no longer stay in that vicinity. She needed to breathe. And for the first time in 3 years, Tega cried, not because she missed Ochiko, but because she missed herself. She missed the woman she used to be, the joy she used to have, and the marriage she never fought for. As for Mama Orish, she woke up to an empty house. Ese had left and Tega was gone. Her voice was still loud, but no one was left to hear it. Meanwhile, Tega now knew what freedom was. She hadn't spoken to her mother in 2 weeks, and miraculously, she didn't die. She didn't also tell anyone about her transfer. She just packed her things quietly, and by the end of the month, she relocated to Benin where she had been transferred to. She had a new house, a new job, and a new heir, but not a new heart, because at night, her mind would still drift back to Ochiko, thinking of what their lives together would have been. Would they have had a child? Would they have built a comfortable family together? Back in Warri, Mama Orish was no longer the lioness of the compound. She barely opened her stall at the market. Now, the woman who used to shout like a town crier could barely even talk. She sat most days on a stool outside, staring at the road as if waiting for someone to return. But no one came. It was as if everyone now avoided her compound. She tried calling Tega, but got no answer. She called Ese. That one had already blocked her. She cried every day, tears of regret that were useless now because her own bitterness had swallowed the very things she claimed to protect. Meanwhile, in Benin, Tega was slowly getting her life back together. But she never stopped checking Facebook, just in case Ochiko posted something new. One day, she saw him. He had posted a picture, smiling in front of a school building with some kids. The caption read, "Giving back to the children reminds me of what true peace feels like." Tega smiled sadly. "You are doing well. I am happy for you." She clicked the like button, then hovered over the comment section before closing the app. Some things were better left unsaid. And then, 2 months later, she received a call from Warri. It was her mother's neighbor. "Auntie Tega, abeg no vex so. I just say make I inform you. Your mama dey sick. She don weak. She no fit even chop." Tega's heart squeezed, not because she no longer felt hurt, but because despite everything, that was still her mother. So, she returned to Warri the next weekend. She found her mother lying on a mat, looking pale and sickly. Tega knelt quietly beside her. They stared at each other for a long time. Then, her mother whispered, "You came." Tega nodded, "Yes." Tears filled her mother's eyes. "I was wrong, Tega. I didn't know I was choking you. I thought I was saving you." Tega swallowed hard. Her own voice was shaking too. "You broke me, Mama. You broke my marriage. You lied and deceived me. You said you wanted to protect me, but you were only really protecting your own fears." Mama Orish cried the more. "I only wanted to stop you from suffering like I did." Tega frowned. "But you didn't stop the suffering. You only changed the shape of it." Tega stayed for 2 days. She cooked, cleaned and gave her mother her medication. But on the 3rd morning, she stood at the door with her small bag. "I have to go now," she said. Her mother looked up. "Will you come again?" Tega sighed. I don't know, but I don't hate you. I just need to keep breathing freely. Then she walked away and Mama Orish watched with tears that burned down her cheeks. 2 weeks after returning to Benin, Tega received a wedding invitation on WhatsApp. It was from a mutual friend back in Warri. The name at the top of the card made her heart skip. Engineer Ochuko Eyitemi and Miss Ogenefejiro Grace join us in celebrating the beginning of forever. Her fingers froze and her heart lost its rhythm, but surprisingly, she didn't cry. She stared at the card for a long time and then said, "It's okay, you deserve this." That evening, she sat on her bed, looked up at the ceiling and began to write a letter. She didn't plan to send it. She just wanted to release it from inside. Dear Ochuko, I don't know if you ever read this. Maybe you are too far gone now, or maybe your heart stopped waiting years ago. But I need to say thank you. Thank you for loving me gently. Thank you for not shouting back. Thank you for walking away with dignity when I couldn't stand by you. I didn't leave because I stopped loving you. I left because I let someone else speak louder than your love. And I regret it deeply. But I don't write this to beg you back. I write this because I am healing now. And part of that healing is knowing what you had, even when you can't have it again. May your marriage be filled with laughter, strength, and the kind of peace I once tasted when I sat beside you. Take care, Tega. The next weekend, she traveled to Warri one last time, not to stop a wedding or to create drama, but to say goodbye to her past. She dressed in a simple gown, wrapped her hair, and took a taxi to a bungalow compound in Udu, where she heard Ochuko's mother still lived. She didn't expect to see him. She just wanted to greet his mother and apologize for disappearing without showing regard, to apologize for everything. His mother was surprised but not cold. Tega knelt to apologize. I was wrong and I know I can never undo the hurt, but please forgive me. The woman placed her hand on Tega's head and smiled. You were young, my child. Now you are wiser. I hold nothing in my heart against you. Tega smiled with tears in her eyes. Thank you, ma. I needed this peace so badly. As she stood to leave, she heard a car horn outside. She turned and saw Ochuko. He stepped out of the car and they froze when their eyes met. It felt like a movie. Tega, Ochuko said quietly and smiled. She smiled back and said, You look well. I am happy for you. I mean it. He nodded. Thank you. I didn't think I would ever see you again. Tega handed him a small envelope. Take this. It is not money. It's just a note I needed to give you and to tell you from the depths of my heart how sorry I am for everything. With that, she turned and walked away, feeling lighter. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. What lesson did you learn from the story? Share the story out with your loved ones and give the story a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye!